Hello, this is Julian with Coffee Reviews, and today we'll be reviewing the Tuma Tesso wash processed Ethiopia from Sweet Bloom Coffee. And there's the bag right there. And Sweet Bloom, based out of Lakewood, Colorado, and the coffee roaster we feature the most on this channel, and for good reason. As of right now, they have 2 of our 10 favorite coffees of the entire year in the Rigoberto Herrera, which was reviewed just a couple days ago, as well as the Rabongayo, a wash processed Sumatra from earlier this year. So there's always potential for them having one of our favorite coffees of the entire year anytime we review one of their coffees. That being said, we also tried the Juan Peña and the Familia Mbachi, which were 2 of Sweet Bloom's coffees that we've actually enjoyed a lot less than many other Sweet Bloom coffees in the past. So Sweet Bloom has actually kind of had a little bit more of a up and down year than typical for them. So we're very curious to see how this Tuma Tesso falls in line, given that, yeah, it could go either way, honestly. This right here is day 18 of this coffee. Alright, and the recipe we used for this coffee, so Sweet Bloom, as mentioned in previous videos, does have a recipe on their website, 16.67 to 1 water to coffee ratio at 200 degrees Fahrenheit. This today is 206 degrees. We like it best at 205 degrees Fahrenheit. We brewed it through the Chemex, of course, and this is a light medium American for the roast profile. With that out of the way, let's start discussing this coffee. Day 6, first impression, definite bit of lemon characteristics in it. Pretty citric overall. Classic Sweet Bloom in the sense that there was a bit of those extra lovely sweet notes that were coming from this coffee. Probably needed some more time, but a pretty solid first overall impression. Day 8 went back, nothing overly distinct worth noting on this day. Pretty citric, but nothing prominent. Day 10 again went back, and it was at that time on day 8 where we were trying to figure out, does this need more time or does it need adjustment to the recipe? Well, we tried adjusting the recipe a little bit, and coffee a little bit more flavorful with both time and an adjustment on the recipe. Bit lemon fruit dominant, and interesting bit of kind of this herbal vegetable component that was also coming in the coffee as it had cooled down. Day 12, one of the best days of this coffee to this point, had definitely improved. Very lemonade-like coffee with a lot of the traditional Sweet Bloom sweetness and some lovely and underrated florals in this cup, as well as what was a pretty common theme throughout this cup of coffee, this beautiful honey sweetness, as well as what was this caramel sweetness that was really nice on this day 12, as well as is really nice on day 18. Day 13, oddly enough, coffee is what we would now describe as the most perfect description for this coffee, lemon ice water. So that's what we decided on is the best description for this coffee, lemon ice water, or a light, less sugary version of a lemonade, because it just has this kind of distinct lemon, but lighter lemon taste to it, which is really actually maybe better than it sounds, honestly. And adding to that some kind of flower petals and some honey. So that's the best way we can describe it. Lemon ice water, maybe mixed in with some flower petals as well as honey. And it sounds fun and interesting, and it was fun and interesting. Day 15, coffee had improved even to that point. Lemon ice water is a perfect descriptor. Delightful honey sweetness in it as well. Day 16, there's quite a bit of depth to this coffee, perhaps an ever so slight caramel again coming through in this cup of coffee, and as this coffee had aged, that caramel became a little bit more nice, prominent, notable. Really good in this cup of coffee, as well as the honey that was present throughout. It was always that underlying sweetness that was really good in this cup of coffee. Sweet coffee, all encompassed in this lemon ice water description that we've given it. All right, let's go ahead and put up the tasting wheel so you can see what we're getting. Things that will jump out, of course, citrus fruit level 4, sweetness level 4, lingering finish level 4, cleanliness level 3, floral level 3, higher on the acidity than typical. The only thing we would change, honestly, on this day is maybe put the caramel at level 3, as it's a little bit more notable and prominent on this day. But yeah, level 2, probably the day we made the tasting wheel, would have been pretty accurate. This looks pretty good even on this day, so I would say that this coffee was, for the most part, pretty consistent. It was improving on the flavor profile that it had early on, just making these flavors a little bit more distinct, notable, and prominent. Our overall thoughts and impressions of this coffee. You know what's funny is while we were drinking this coffee, we weren't necessarily enjoying it as much, but as we're kind of talking back about this coffee, I think we're reminiscing and realizing that we had probably enjoyed it more throughout the time we were drinking it than we had initially thought. It was we'll call it a classic Sweet Bloom cup of coffee. We said with the Juan Peña and the Familia Mbachi that they weren't traditional in the sense that we had higher expectations. Like the sweetness, I believe, for both those coffees were at level 3, and we were expecting something different from both of them. Whereas this one goes back to what makes Sweet Bloom great. That sweetness at level 4 is something we really enjoyed. So I would say that we quite enjoyed this cup of coffee. It was not our favorite Ethiopia of the year, not our favorite Sweet Bloom coffee of the year, but it was solid. So pretty middle ground, but on the higher end of that middle ground for Sweet Bloom coffee. Type of person we would suggest this coffee to is definitely somebody that does enjoy the more citrus fruits and kind of lighter citrus fruits, but at the same time a bit of great sweetness, as the complexity in this coffee makes it a fun coffee because there are a lot of flavors in it, but they're distinct, pretty notable, and I'd say honestly kind of easy to pick out, as we did would say pretty easy job of picking out these flavors in this coffee while simultaneously being complex. So it's one of those Sweet Bloom coffees that are just kind of fun overall in that sense. But yeah, I think we're going to leave it at that though. If you by chance tried this Tuma Tesso, would love to know your thoughts and impressions of this coffee as well. If you're enjoying the content, give this video a like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. But this right here has been a review of the Tuma Tesso wash processed Ethiopia from Sweet Bloom Coffee. Thank you for watching.